Hello! Welcome back to another reality TV recap. It's your girl, Poe, and I'm here to talk about Love is Blind. And I think it's gonna be a great season, so I'm super excited. Now, the way I decided to do this is I'm gonna watch and recap one episode per day, and I feel like that's the most I can handle right now, so I'm gonna do my best to release a recap every single day until next Wednesday. That's when episode 7 will drop. And for all my 90-day people, do not worry, I will still be posting the 90-day recap and the single life recap next week, so don't worry about it. It's just on some days I'll have 2 uploads that day, one for 90 day and one for Love is Blind. All right, without further ado, let's get into Love is Blind Season 6. Like with any new show, there's going to be a bunch of new faces and a bunch of new names. So I'll put pictures of everybody that I'm going to be talking about as I'm talking about them. And rather going couple by couple, I'm going to follow the sequence of the show for this one. Because right now everybody's dating everyone. They're getting to know each other. People are forming multiple connections. But once the couples are established, then I can recap the show couple by couple if that's what you guys prefer. Now, very quickly, I want to go over the premise of the show. If you've never watched Love is Blind, it's a blind dating show, duh. And the whole concept of this is to fall in love without seeing what the other person looks like. So you can talk to them about anything, everything you want. The only thing you can't do is physically see them. You can even talk about what you look like, from your head to your toe, describe your physical attributes if you want. Some people choose not to get the full experience of the show, while other people, they can't help themselves. They need to know. Each season has a designated city that they cast from and film in. And so for this season, season 6, it's in Charlotte, North Carolina. So for the blind dating part of the show, they date in these cozy bougie rooms called the pods. So every single time I refer to the pods, it's these rooms right here. And they do this for about a week, I believe. And once they choose their person, the guy will propose, they will get engaged, and then they have this big reveal and they'll get to meet each other physically before they go on their romantic pre-wedding trip. And after the trip, they go to each other's homes or apartments, they meet each other's families, friends, and then they'll live together up until the wedding. And it's at the wedding where they finally will say, I do or I don't, okay? So now we have all of that out of the way for my non-Love is Blind viewers. Let's get into episode 1. This is Trevor. He's 30 years old and he's an account manager. And he connects with this girl named Chelsea, who is 30 years old and she's a flight attendant and an event planner. Now they have this immediate connection over their dogs having each other's names, which I found really whack. Like they go in and he's like, oh my God, your name is Chelsea. My dog's name is Chelsea. And she goes, oh my God, your name is Trevor? My dog's name is Trevor. Like, that's crazy. Were they joking?
Hi, what's your name?
My name is Chelsea.
My dog's name is Chelsea.
No way. And what is your name?
My name is Trevor.
My dog's name's Trevor too.
I don't know, but they have great chemistry and they laugh a lot, which is always a good sign. Chelsea goes on a date with 27-year-old Jimmy, who works in software sales, and they also have a great conversation as well. Now, Jimmy also connects with Jessica, a 28-year-old executive assistant, and he compliments her voice. He tells her, oh my God, you have such a nice voice. And she goes, really? I've never been complimented on my voice. Like, everybody says my voice is really freaking annoying. And he's like, no, I like it.
I like your voice.
I love hearing that because I've never been complimented on my voice ever. People say I sound like Fran Drescher when I laugh, so I'm like...
Anyway, their chemistry's fantastic. Their conversation just flowed. It was so easy.
I feel good about you, by the way.
Honestly, I'm not trying to get ahead of myself, but like, I feel really good about you.
Now, here's a little fun fact. Jessica has a 10-year-old daughter who is her absolute entire world, her pride and joy. She loves her the most out of this entire world, right? But she doesn't plan on telling the guys that she has a daughter first. Like, she's not going to come out the gate being like, hi, I'm Jessica and I have a 10-year-old daughter. She wants the men to get to know her for her. She said once she feels like she has a connection with a guy, then she's going to tell him that she's a mother. This is Matthew. Matthew. Okay. He's a 36-year-old wealth management advisor, and he has a stinky ass attitude. He has a piece of paper filled with 15 questions that he has for these women. So he's on a date with Jessica, and he says, "Hey, Jess, pick a number 1 through 15, and I'll ask you that question." And she picks a number, he asks his question, and she answers his question. And then she says, "What about you?" And he goes, "Oh, well, I wasn't planning on answering my question, so I don't have an answer."
What is something you think you excel at in relationships?
My loyalty and devotion to my partner. What about you?
You know, I was just going to ask the questions. I wasn't really anticipating getting the same one back.
Oh my God.
Yep, just dude talking to the wall.
What the hell? Just answer the damn question, Matthew. It's a simple question. He gives off such bad energy. He's extremely pompous and arrogant. And to put it simply, he's just a big giant asshole. Rather than conversing with these women, he's interviewing them, and not in a nice way.
What's your name?
Matthew?
Matthew, nice to meet you. My name is Sarah Ann. How's everything going today?
I don't know. We'll keep that close to the vest.
Number 4, please.
This one's been requested a couple times. We try to be something different.
Then he has a date with a 29-year-old Sarah Ann, and he does his usual, pick a number, I'll ask you a question, blah, 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 blah. And she goes on to give him a full answer. And he's immediately bored. He wants her to stop talking, but she won't. And he can't sit still. And he's like, "Oh my God," you can just see it in his face. And so he walks out of the pods without even telling her as she's speaking. So then finally she's done talking and she's like, hello? Are you still there? And once she realizes that he's gone, she's like, "Oh, thank God. Thank God." You know, I can only imagine that it must have felt like pulling teeth for her to get him to talk, because he doesn't talk. And so I feel like she just kept talking and talking to fill in the awkward silences. This is Amber Desiree, but she prefers to be called AD. She's a 31-year-old real estate broker, and she goes on a date with Matthew. And for some reason, he finally decides to open up and be nice. And it happens to be with AD. Poor girl. I am so sorry it had to be you. I'm just so sorry.
Showing emotion is weakness, and being in a dating pod is probably the scariest environment possible. But I'm here.
You are here.
So I think, give me a little more time, and I think maybe I can win you over, or maybe somebody else.
Is that something you want to do, win me over?
I'm gonna try.
Oh God, they're flirting back and forth, and he's actually being really sweet. Like, I can see why AD is melting and giggling and in her feels. Like, I get it, but with Matthew? No. AD also connects with a guy named Clay, and he gives a lot of red flags, but they're a lot more subtle than Matthew's. Matthew's is just in your face, you know, he's just an asshole outright. But Clay, he throws in subtle hints like,
when I first turned 30, I was trying to hold on to 29 for as long as possible.
Oh gosh, why?
I just don't want to age, you know? I was actually thinking about getting a cat. What you think about that?
Absolutely not.
I like the fact that cats, you don't need to show them love all the time, you know?
red flag. She's worried that he's a ladies' man, and I have a big feeling that he is. Back in the living quarters, which is where everyone hangs out in between the dates, AD shares with the rest of the women that she connected with Matthew, and they are all shook. They're like, "Oh, what? He was nice?"
Hold on. Wait. You like Matt?
He was like a hard rock, and then like I started talking to him, and he like opened up, and then he's like, "I would love to talk to you again."
Now, in the men's living quarters, we see Matthew sitting by himself while all the other men are talking on the other side of the room. So not only does he not speak to women, he doesn't speak to men either. We meet Amy and Johnny, and they connect over wanting to go to Japan and watching Naruto. And Amy opens up and talks about how she grew up as an only child. She was born in Puerto Rico, and she came to the States when she was only 5, and she had to learn English, and she was depressed. She had no friends, and her parents even had to beg the people at their church to let their kids go to her birthday party. Like, that is sad. Prayed that she wanted a little baby brother, not a sister, because she didn't want to deal with her little sister stealing her clothes, so she wanted a baby brother. And then the next day, her mom said, "Guess what, everybody? I'm pregnant." And this gave me chills because I remember being a kid and I remember saying the same prayer. And I remember my mom saying, guess what, you guys? I'm pregnant with a girl. I swear to God, this literally happened. I loved their conversation. I thought they had amazing chemistry. I felt the sparks. I felt the butterflies. And I think that they're going to pick each other. AD goes on another date with Matthew again. And it's kind of crazy to see Matthew's energy change, to see him warmer, so open. And he's like a completely different person once his walls came down. Like, who is this Matthew? He was so freaking before.
But I just was trying to like think of how to tell you that like you make me nervous but comfortable at the same time.
Oh my gosh, I think you just found the perfect way to say it.
What I'm saying to you, I'm not saying to anybody else.
Well, that's reassuring.
With you, it feels different to me.
It does, and I 100% feel that.
I think a part of his appeal for AD is that he was so closed off, that he had this really hard exterior, but he broke out of that for her. And she must feel special. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I'd feel a certain way about it too. I'd be like, oh, he broke down his walls for me? I'm the one that got him to open up while he's so closed off to everybody else? Like, what did I do? I must be special. I literally would have that thought in my head as well, so I get where she's coming from. After watching the rest of their dates, I'm like, she's gonna choose him. Like, she's gonna choose, there's no way she's gonna go for anybody else. It's him. She's gonna choose Matthew. I almost called him Michael. Jessica's on another date with Jimmy, and she knows that she has a great connection with him. She really likes him, and so she's going to tell him. She's ready to tell him that she's a mother. So she goes into that pod with that intention. First, they talk about their upbringings. Jimmy talks about how he was very insecure about the way he grew up and his family, because I'm assuming that they were not financially well off, because he mentioned how he was really insecure about not having as much as his friends had in school. And so he avoided dating certain kind of women because he was fearful of that rejection because of his upbringing. Now, Jessica is super empathetic and she's like, oh, I can totally relate because there are things from my childhood that I used to be super embarrassed about. And then she's like, I have to tell you something.
I think the most important parts of me, I've had the hardest time sharing with you because I'm like so terrified about like how you're going to receive it.
Sounds like a secret.
She's like, I have a 10-year-old daughter. And done. He's like, what? He's so shocked. He's so shocked. And he's like, he's trying to gather his thoughts, his words. And he goes, oh, why didn't you tell me this earlier? And she goes, because I wanted people to get to know me first and establish a relationship with me first.
You know, we haven't talked about like, when do you want to have children, or like, how many kids do you want to have? Because that's a good conversation starter for me to be like, okay, well, yeah, like I kind of already have a head start on that.
If I were in his shoes, I would feel like she was purposely hiding this from me. You know, like we went on multiple dates, we formed this amazing connection, and we talked about so many things, and you left your daughter out in every single one of those conversations. Like we talked about our future. You know what I'm saying? So I get his shock. And I also understand where she was coming from, but like I can't imagine being a mother and not talking about my child. You'd think a child is something that somebody would mention on the first, if not the second date. I mean, when I'm on a dating app, that's one of the first things I look for. Like when you're even signing up to be on a dating app, that's one of the first questions they ask you. Do you have children? Yes or no? Do you want children? Yes or no? So he's trying to process this information. You can just see his mind going a million miles a minute. He tries to also reassure her. So he's like, I just want to let you know this isn't a deal breaker. And he's like, so how, like, who's the father, blah, blah, blah. Like, what's that story? So she tells him the whole story, that she was dating her childhood friend and got pregnant. And then when she was a senior in high school, and then after Autumn turned about 1, they broke up. But they have a great co-parenting relationship. And I can tell his energy definitely changed up just a little bit. But he still really likes Jessica and knows that they have a great connection. He just needs to process this information. Like now suddenly he has to think about whether or not he wants to be an instant stepdad. afterwards, he goes on a date with Chelsea. Now remember, they went on dates before. They already had a great connection. He just had a stronger connection with Jessica. So he's on a date with Chelsea. They're having a great time. And then Chelsea suddenly says, okay, I have something to tell you. And you can just tell on Jimmy's face. He clams up. He looks so stressed. And then she goes, it might be a red flag, but I just got to be honest, and it's a big part of my life and I have to tell you. And he's like, okay, what is it?
I do have something to just kind of lay out there.
Oh boy.
That's pretty important. And it could be a red flag, but it's a part of my journey.
Okay.
And she tells him she was married before. When she was 18 to her high school sweetheart, she was married to him for 5 years, and then they just outgrew the relationship, and that's it. And he goes, that's fine with me. I heard some way scarier news earlier.
I got married.
I mean, it doesn't scare me.
Okay.
Yes, I heard bigger news today that scared me a little bit more.
I'm thinking, oh, Jimmy, you need to learn how to respond better. Tell us how you really feel, but don't, So Chelsea's like, oh, you heard stuff about me? And he goes, no, about my other dick. I probably shouldn't talk about this. And she goes, oh, no, it's fine. I'm totally fine. Are you fine? And he goes, yeah, I'm fine. Thank you for telling me that. Yeah. And then he's like, I'm trying to change the subject and I don't know how. And it's so awkward. And I'm just like, whoa. He's really bad at hiding his feelings. He's really bad at transitioning. He really needs to learn how to receive bad news and respond better. So Chelsea feels this huge awkwardness and his hesitation, and she just feels this wall being built up, and she starts crying and she's like, I'm so sorry, I'm just emotional, this is a lot. And then she ends up leaving the pod.
That's okay.
Chelsea.
Sorry, I'm just emotional. Oh, God. I think I'm just emotional because it's kind of hard for me to, I don't know, I was nervous to tell you that.
Then Chelsea goes on a date with Trevor, and she tells him that she was married once, and he takes it so much better than Jimmy. He's like, oh, yeah, okay, well, that doesn't bother me. We all have our past. And she's like, oh my God, thank you. Somebody just reacted so poorly before you. And he goes, ugh, oh, come on. Nobody has a squeaky, picture perfect fantasy. Everybody's dated somebody. Everybody has a past.
And I was married for 5 years.
We did not talk about this.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I wish nothing but the best for him.
Okay. That's good. That's good. You don't have any animosity. That doesn't faze me whatsoever.
That's good.
At this age, it's very hard to find someone who hasn't either been married or really close to being married.
Yeah.
But I will say a red flag that I had with him was when he said that he almost got married to his ex, who was 98% perfect, or 98% what he wanted, but he's looking for that 100. There is no 100%. Nobody's going to be perfect for you. So I thought that was a red flag. 2%? Really? You're not going to marry her for that 2%? Anyway, he makes it super clear with Chelsea that he's really into her and he sees a future with her. And that makes her super giddy and so happy, especially after that horrible date she had with Jimmy. She's like, oh my God, finally a guy who understands.
Are you really ready for something that crazy serious?
With you? Yes.
Now, let's move on to AD, because she goes on another date with player Clay. Oh, Clay! Okay, he finally says, sexual and physical attraction are so important to me. If I meet a girl and I am not physically attracted to her, there's no way. It doesn't matter how much emotional connection we have. I can't. And so he tells her he's worried that they have this wonderful, amazing connection, but when they meet each other, they won't feel the sparks. And so he's like, can you tell me about yourself? How do you look? And this throws AD completely off because she was really enjoying not knowing what each other looked like. She's been used to guys kind of going off her looks and assuming that she's one way. And that's why she signed up for the show, because love is blind. Everybody's going on a blind date. So she's like, oh God, physical attraction is not important to you, right? Okay, So I don't want to do this. Like, I want to get the full experience. And so I'm not going to tell you what I look like. And he's like, oh, okay. Meh.
I just have to be attracted to you.
Do you have like a specific thing that you're hoping comes through that door?
I would say I kind of lean towards more like petite. My favorite attribute is like lips, butt, and all that stuff. If I'm gonna propose, that's something I need to know.
Regardless of the emotional connection.
Regardless of the emotional.
At least he's being honest. Okay, he can't help that about himself. He can't help it. Looks are extremely important to him. And he needs a partner who is physically attractive. And if that's what he wants, that's what he wants. You know, he's entitled to that. But then don't come on a show called Love is Blind. Blind. Do you know what blind means, sir? It means you don't see them. Then she goes on another date with Matthew, who is pretty much a saint after that date with Clay.
This is Matthew.
This is AD.
Really?
Really?
Oh my God, did you guys just hear him say, really? I'm shook. He's getting really vulnerable with her. And he's so freaking sweet. Like, what the fork? Why do I like him suddenly? Why is my heart swooning? I was literally disgusted by him a half hour ago. And now I'm getting like fanny flutters from him.
I just sense you're just incredibly caring. I could just feel you being protective of me. And over the course of time, I'm just becoming very protective of you.
He basically tells her, AD, it's you. It's you or no one else. Like, I am so shocked by the way I'm able to open up to you. Like, my walls are always up, but you have broken them down. I don't recognize myself. Who is this version of me? You make me feel things that I've never felt before. And she gets super emotional and she starts crying, but they're happy tears. And I think in this moment, I was like, oh no, I think I like them. I like them as a couple. I'm rooting for them now.
What is my greatest accomplishment? Finding you.
Okay.
Too much?
No, it's just getting hot in here.
Oh my God, then they talk about a possible engagement and he says, what would your dad think? And she says, he passed away last year. And he goes, oh my God, I'm so sorry. And she goes, yeah, so he's not really thinking much. I was like, the way I busted out laughing when she said that. And she was like, yeah, we weren't really close.
I asked you about your dad because I really don't know if I could propose to somebody without asking permission.
Okay, well, he's not available right now, so you can ask her mom. She has a mom that you can ask. That's her other parent, the woman who gave birth to her, so ask her for permission. AD wants to know if race or ethnicity plays a factor in his dating game. So clearly they haven't talked about their racial background or their cultural background or anything like that. And he hesitates and he goes, no, it really doesn't. It doesn't matter. And that makes her feel so good. He was like, I don't care what you look like. I don't care where you're from. And she's like, oh, thank God. Because, you know, Clay cares about what they look like. And she just feels so validated. She feels great. And when they laugh, it doesn't feel forced at all or fake. And it just seems so genuine and so fun. And they have such a great connection. And I'm just like, what the hell, Matthew? Why did you make me hate you and then like love you all of a sudden?
I don't want to go on any more dates.
Listen, we have 5 more days.
Oh my goodness.
You give me the word. If you want to leave, I'll leave with you.
For real?
Yeah, I would. Did you say Matthew? Let's get the hell out of here. And I will run around this room. I'll find my way back to you. Get your blankie. I'll wrap you up in it, and I'll just carry you out of here.
But when people have such a good connection in the pods, I get so worried for them when they finally meet in person. Because what if they don't find each other attractive? Then what happens? Because that has happened on this show. AD in her confessional says that she doesn't know what race he is or what he looks like, but she has an assumption that he's white and she's okay with it. She's never dated a white guy before, but she's open to it and it doesn't matter to her. And hopefully he feels the same way. So AD's beaming, she's gushing over her date with Matthew and how much they're in love, and she goes back into the women's quarters and she talks to Amber, who I don't think we've met yet. Like, I haven't introduced her, but she's another girl, and she's also happy because she had an amazing date earlier. And AD's like, oh my God, tell me all about it. And then Amber's like, oh my God, he told me that he's ready to leave with me right now. Like, he wants to ask my dad for permission to marry me. And AD's like, oh my God, are you serious? I'm so happy for you. Who did you go on the date with? And Amber says, Matthew. What? What did you say, bitch? This is exactly the same effing thing that he told AD. And I thought it was genuine. I completely believed him because he said himself, the words that came out of his mouth were like, I'm just telling you, I haven't told anybody this. I'm not saying this to anybody else. He said those words. So of course she would believe them.
He talked about like asking my dad. Before your interview. And if he can't do that, I can't leave.
What the hell? AD's so shocked. All the color from her face drained immediately. She's trying to process all this information, take it all in. She doesn't tell Amber that she literally has been fed the exact same fucking lines from him. I don't know what she's going to do. I don't know why she's so quiet. How is she going to, what is she going to do? I want to know. I can't wait to watch episode 2. Okay, but damn, I cannot believe I fucking fell for Matthew's fucking bullshit every fucking season, except for season 1. Actually, there was an asshole, but he left early. We always get a guy who comes off sweet, but he's fucking awful and so fucking fake. How is he going to tell Amber, I need you to know you're the only one? And then tell AD the same thing. Oh, did you guys notice both of their names are Amber? One goes by Amber, one goes by AD, but they're both Amber. How? I just don't understand. How does somebody say such a bold-faced lie with such conviction? Like, he acts like this really hard, bad guy. He doesn't open up. He has this hard exterior shell. And then you're the only woman who's able to break those walls down. And oh my God, you changed my life. Like, I've never been this way. I can't believe I'm feeling these things. You have to believe me. You're the only person I'm telling this to. He's a sociopath. He's a sociopath, right? Wow. Unbelievable. I cannot wait to watch the next episode, which I'm going to do right after I finish editing this and getting it up. And I really hope you guys understand that these Love is Blind recaps are going to have very little editing, like visual editing. I'm going to do all of this by myself. I'm trying to get through all of these 6 episodes before they release more. Because like I said before, I have this thing where if I'm behind or I feel like I'm behind, I get super overwhelmed. My brain can't handle it and I just quit. I just like throw everything away and I quit. And I don't know if that's a symptom of ADHD or if it's just me, but it's been a thing ever since I was a kid. So yeah, I hope you guys understand the minimal editing. The visuals will just be the pictures of these people. And if I have time, I'll add some more screenshots through the episode. But thank you guys so much for understanding. I hope you guys enjoyed this recap and let me know all your thoughts in the comments and I will hopefully talk to you tomorrow for episode 2. All right, you guys, bye.